Hello, my dear friends. Welcome to my YouTube channel RMK Resolutions. Now, today we are going to speak on the some important topic related to the immunology. So, immunology, we know that this is the branch of science which deals with the study of immune system. So, immune system, this is the system which is going to protect our body from some foreign pathogens such as the bacteria and different viruses. So it is very important to know some concept of the immune system. So first is the antigen. On your screen you can see antigen. So this antigen, it is a substance which when introduced into the body, then it is capable of provoking an immune response, that is called as the antigen. So antigen, we can say that this is the any foreign substance which is come into the body. So that particular antigen, they increase the immune system by means of producing the antibody, that is called as the antigen. So you can see here, this is the see my dear friend, this one is the, suppose this is a foreign pathogen, suppose it is a bacteria, and on the surface of bacteria you can see such kind of things such as a triangle and such things. So these are the antigens which are present on the surface of bacteria, and these antigens are responsible to increase our immune system, that is they are responsible for the production of antibodies. So you can see here, these are the antibody produced against that antigen. Remember one important thing, antigen and antibody reactions, they are very specific. Okay, so we'll see the different characteristics of antigen. So, and first important characteristics of antigen, that is antigen must be are the foreign molecule. So foreignness is the most important characteristic that antigen recognize as a self are not immunogenic. Immunogenic means what? They that substance which having ability to increase the immune system. So if it is a self molecule, then it unable to produce an, or they unable to increase the immune system. So molecule must be foreign molecule. So foreignness is the most important characteristics of the antigen. Next, the molecular size of the antigen is, again, it is very important. So if suppose that foreign antigen, it is small in size, then it unable to produce an unable to increase the immune system. So small foreign molecule with molecular weight below 10,000, then it become a heptane. See here, this is the heptane. Heptane means it is the molecule which having a molecular weight less than 10,000. So that heptane molecule means it is a weakly immunogenic molecule, and heptane molecule, they need some carrier to increase the immune response. So molecular size, again it is the most important characteristics of the antigen. So once antibodies are formed, then it is recognized as a heptane molecule. Then chemical composition of antigen, again it is important. Suppose this particular antigen, it is made up of the, it is a protein and it is made up of the amino acid. So amino acid homopolymer, it is less immunogenic. Homopolymer, this is not a good antigen, because we know that homopolymer means that is the polypeptide chain which is made up of only single amino acid, that is called as a homopolymer, and it is not a good antigen. So good antigen, it must be a heteropolymer, that is it is made up of more than two different kinds of amino acids. So again, this is the important characteristics that is a chemical complexity, that most antigen must be a complex in nature. Simple antigen, it is not a good immunogenic antigen. Then antigen determinants. Suppose this is the one antigen. So antigen determinants, this is this one. This is the antigenic determinants present on the antigen, which we also called as the epitope. So this is a small chemical group on antigen molecule that elect or increase the immunological response, and that epitope they are going to react with the antibody. So on the antigen there must be a antigenic determinants, or we can say epitope must be present on the antigen. If epitope is not present, then that antigen again it is not a good antigen. Then when we are saying that antigen it is a foreign molecule, then dose of antigen is again most important characteristic. Means how much concentration is needed to increase the immune response. And second thing, the route of administration, from which body part we are going to inject the antigen into the body, again that is important. And the timing of antigen is again, timing of administration of antigen into the body, it is again important. So this factor is important when we considering the immunogenicity. Immunogenicity means it is increase the immune response. So these are the some important characteristics of antigens. Now adjuvant, try to understand what is meant by the adjuvant. Earlier slides we have seen that heptane molecule. So heptane means what? These are the molecule which are weakly immunogenic molecule. So heptane they need some carriers. So adjuvants, this is the they enhance the immune response to the antigens, and adjuvants molecule they combine with the antigens to increase the immune response. But remember, adjuvants they are chemically unrelated to the antigens. So different form of the carrier proteins they act as an antigens, and they are not covalently bound to the antigens like carrier proteins, and they cause a slow release of antigen. So that is a prolonging the stimulus. So adjuvant they are responsible for the slow release of antigen. Then adjuvants they stimulate the toll-like receptor at the surface of macrophage, and they are responsible for the cytokine production that enhance the response of T cell and B cell to the antigen. So some vaccines they contain a adjuvant, for example aluminum hydroxide or some lipid they act as an anti-adjuvant. So adjuvant means what? It is a chemical which combine with the antigen for increasing the immune response. Then we already seen this particular epitope. Epitope, this is a small part of antigen that interact with the antibodies, and at any given antigen may have several epitopes. Suppose this is an antigen, so that antigen having several epitopes present on their body surface, and each epitope it is recognized by the different antibodies. As I said, for every epitope it having a different antibody. So you can see on your screen this is the antigen molecule, and on the antigen molecule there are three different epitopes are there, this one, and this one. So antibody A, B and C they are going to produce for the different epitopes present on the antigen. So this is the very important concept. There's epitopes and antibody, these are the, or you can say this is the specific reaction. Antigen antibody, we know that antibody, it is the Y shape in structure. We'll see later on the structure of antibody. Okay, so now we'll see the antibody. Antibody, it is one kind of protein. So nature of the antibody is the protein, and that antibody is going to react with the antigens, and they are going to neutralize the effect of foreign pathogen or foreign virus or foreign bacteria. So that is the main function of the antibody. So antibody, it is also called as a gamma globulin protein that is going to react specifically with the antigens. So when we see the percentage, then there is a 20% of the plasma protein, it is the antibody. So obviously this antibody, they are present in a serum, or it is present in a blood, or it is present in a plasma. So according to the structure of that protein and monomers of that proteins, there are 5 classes of antibodies are found. These classes are IgG, IgM, IgA, IgD and IgE. These are the 5 types of antibody. So the main function of the antibody is to neutralize the foreign pathogens, neutralize the toxins that is secreted by the bacteria, then neutralize the effect of the viruses. Main function of the antibody. Next, antibody, they also plays an important role in a opsonization, that is the opsonize the microbes to easily phagocytose. This is very important function. Opsonization means what? It increase the phagocytic activity of the particular macrophage, for example. So this is also the function of the antibody, opsonization. So antibody get coated around the foreign pathogen, and then that particular foreign pathogen is phagocyted by the different phagocytic cells. Then antibody is also responsible for the activate the complement protein. So that complement protein, it also plays an important role in a opsonization, and when complement protein is activated, then and only then they plays an important role in a opsonization. So this is also the function of the antibodies. Then antibody, they prevent the attachment of microbes to the mucosal surface. Then antibody is having a catalytic role. Antibody can react with the enzymes to catalyze the synthesis of different synthesis of the ozone, and that also having a microcidal activity. So these are the functions of the antibody in short. So on your screen you can see the different antigen antibody reactions. Here you can see this particular antibody, they activate the B lymphocytes, and then it is going to produce a memory cells and plasma cells, and plasma cells actually they are going to secrete the antibody. So this particular plasma cells, they plays an important role for the secretion of antibody, and then that antibody opsonize the foreign pathogen. Opsonization means coating, and then finally phagocytosis or phagocytosis takes place. Phagocytosis of foreign microbial pathogen takes place. So these are the different antigen antibody reactions. Here also you can see antibody are responsible for the activation of the complement protein. So these are the different functions of the antibody. So after stimulation, that B cell, it is differentiated into the plasma cells. So we says many times that B cell they are going to secrete the antibodies, but actually remember B cells they differentiate into the plasma cells. This B cell it is differentiated into the plasma cells and memory cells. So this is important, and this plasma cells they are going to secrete the antibodies. And memory cells, we know that memory, our immune system having a memory. So when same pathogen is encountered second time, then these memory cells plays an important role, and immunity is activated further. So on your screen you can see this particular plasma cells they are going to secrete the antibodies, and that response is called as the humoral response, or we can say humoral immunity. So in a humoral immunity antibodies are involved. So now we'll see the characteristics of the antibody and structure of antibody. So antibody they are diverse in nature and they respond to the different antigens. Then antibody having a long memory respond that is many years after the initial of the exposure due to the memory T cells and B cells. Then antibodies they are again very specific in nature, that is action specifically directed against the antigen that initiate the response. So that, as I always said, that antigen and antibody reactions they are very specific in nature, like lock and key hypothesis. Then antibodies they are also responsible for the inflammatory response. Now we'll see the structure of antibody, or it is immunoglobulin. Now antibody, when we talk about the antibodies, then they are the Y-shaped antibodies, and they consist of the 4 polypeptide chain, that is a 2H and 2L. H means it is the heavy and L means it is the means low molecular weight and high molecular weight, or heavy chain and light chain. And these particular H and L chains they are linked by the disulfide bond. So antibody molecules they always consist of the identical heavy chain and identical light chain. You can see this is a clear picture of the antibody. You can see here this one, these are the light chains, and this one, these are the heavy chain. And this region is the antigen binding region. This also the antigen binding region. It is also called as the variable region, and that is actually responsible for the antigen binding. So you can see here they have mentioned this region is the constant region, and this region is the variable region, and this region is the constant region of the antibody. So L and H chain it is subdivided into the variable and constant. I already told you this particular L and H they are divided into the variable chain and constant chain. So these regions they are composed of the 3-dimensional fold, that is the repeating segments of the domain, and each domain it is about 1/110 amino acid long. So obviously these domains they are globular in shape, and they stabilized by the interchain disulfide bonds, and antigen binding sites are located in a variable domain. As I already told you, this particular antigen binding they are found in a variable region. So see, this is the folded form of the immunoglobulin. Now see, I will see one by one. So this is the this particular region is the antigen binding region. Remember, this is the one domain which is made up of 110 amino acids. Then this see, this is the variable region of light and heavy chain, and this one is the constant region of the antibody. See here, this domain, it is responsible for the complement binding protein. Then this is a site for the bonding to the macrophages, and this particular region, it is the ability to cross the placenta. So this is the constant region, and this is the variable region of the antibody. So this is the three-dimensional fold of the antibody, and this is the Fc region, fragment crystallizable segment of the antibody. So and you can see clearly these particular domains, they are stabilized by the disulfide bonds. So here you can see clearly disulfide bonds are formed between a amino acid, sulfur containing amino acids. So variable regions of the light and heavy chains, they are responsible for the antigen binding, and constant region of the heavy chains, they are responsible for the different biological functions such as the complement activation and binding to the cell surface receptors. So this is the functions of variable and constant region of the antibody. And light chains, one variable region and one constant region, and that light chain attached to the H chain by the disulfide bond, and they also interact with some non-covalent interactions. So now L chain, this having two type, we can say L chain, it having two types, that is kappa and lambda. So that kappa and lambda, that is due to the difference in a amino acid in their constant region. So both types occur in all class of immunoglobulin, that is IgM, IgG, etc. But any one immunoglobulin molecule contain only one type of L chain. Suppose for example IgG having either kappa or either lambda. Only one type of chain is present in a particular antibody. So heavy chain, it consists of the variable region and constant region, that is divided into the three domains, that is CH1, CH2 and CH3, and each domain again, as I said, it is made up of the 110 amino acid long. Then the CH2 domain, we already seen this CH2 domain, it contain a complement binding site, and this CH3 domain, it is a site for the attachment of the IgG to the receptors on the neutrophils and macrophage. Okay, so this is a function of the CH3. And H chain, it is structurally and antigenically distinct for each class. Now you can see H chain, they having a different distinct conformation, 5 immunoglobulin class on the basis of this H chain, like alpha, gamma, micro, eta and delta. So these are the conformation of the H chain. So variable region, it having a L and H chain, they having a 3 extremely variable region, which is called as the hypervariable region. So this is a sequence at the amino terminal end that form a antigen binding site. So in a variable region there is one site is present which is called as the hypervariable region. So the specificity of antibody is due to the hypervariable region. So that specific reactions because of the hypervariable which is present in a variable domain. So amino terminus, a portion of the L and H chains, they participate in a antigen binding regions, and carboxyl terminal, they are the Fc fragments which has a biological activity. We already seen the structure. See here, this one is the amino terminus and this one is the carboxyl terminal, because this is a protein. So protein having a two ends, amino end and carboxyl end. So this one is the amino end and this one is the carboxyl end of the antibody or protein. So try to understand this. Amino terminus, they are responsible for the antigen binding, and carboxyl terminus, they are responsible for the different biological activities. Which biological activities? Activation of the complement protein, then binding to the cell surface receptor. So these are the functions of the carboxyl terminal end. So as we have discussed that light chain, they having kappa and lambda. So heavy chain, they having this conformation. IgG, it having a gamma conformation. IgM, it having a micro. IgA, it having alpha. IgD, it having a delta, and IgE having a eta. Remember, in a particular antibody, only such type of heavy chains are present in a antibody. So the antibody molecule, when antibody molecule is treated with a different proteolytic enzymes, then that antibody molecule is break down at the hinge region of the antibody, and they are going to produce two fragments, that is FAB and FC regions. So these are the two fragments separated when antibody is treated with the proteolytic enzymes. You can see here, this is the structure of antibody again. Now this is easy to understand. This one is the light chain and this one is the heavy chain. Light chain, again this is the variable region of the light chain, this is the variable region of the constant chain, and then a variable region of the heavy chain, and this one is the all the part, it is the constant region of the antibody. And you note down here, this one is the hypervariable region, which is actually responsible for the antigen binding. So this is the clear picture again for the structure of antibody. Again, these are the some antigen antibody responses we have seen. We already mentioned this slide in earlier. So as I told you, there are different types of antibodies. Number one is the IgA, IgG, IgM, IgD and IgE. So these particular types is based on the structural difference in a constant region of the heavy chain, and each antibody they having a specialized function or specialized effector function. So first we'll see the IgM antibody. So IgM antibody, this is the pentameric antibody. You can clearly see here, this is a pentameric, that is a 5 monomers, they come together and they are going to form a IgM antibody. So IgM antibody concentration is 5 to 8% present in a serum. Then it is a short life. As I told you, this is a pentameric structure, and this is the predominant antibody in a primary immune response. So many times there is a question in a CSIR NET exam or SET exams on this particular antibody. So this is a very simplified matter, but we need to remember this. So IgM antibody, they plays an important role in a primary immune response. And IgM antibody, this is the antibody synthesized by the fetus also, that is a developing embryo, is also they are going to produce a IgM antibody firstly. And this particular IgM, they confine to the intravascular pool due to the large size. Then it is not cross the placenta, remember, due to the large in size they are unable to cross to the placenta. Then IgM, it is present, presence of IgM in a newborn indicate the intrauterine infection. Again, this is an important point for the MCQ point of view. If there is a presence of IgM antibodies in a newborn baby, so it indicates the intrauterine infection. So this is useful in diagnosis of congenital infections like a syphilis, rubella, HIV or toxoplasmosis. So this is the importance and functions of IgM. So this table briefly shows the function. IgM, this is the pentameric antibody, and these monomers are joined together by the J chain. And then this is the first immunoglobulin class that is produced after the initial exposure. We already discussed that is they plays an important role in a primary immune response, and function is they promote the neutralization and cross-linking of antigens effectively in a complement activation system. Now IgG, so see the percentage is very high, 75% of the total immunoglobulin. And IgG, again it having a 4 subclasses, that is IgG1, IgG2, IgG3 and IgG4. So this is distinct type of the gamma chain. So different conformation of the gamma chain, that's why it having a IgG1, G2, G3 and G4. So this is the major antibodies in a secondary immune response, which is found in a serum and a body fluid. And this is the only maternal immunoglobulin that is transported across the placenta. Remember, only maternal antibody that is going to cross the placenta, and they are responsible for the passive immunity in a newborn baby. So remember, there are two types of immunity. One is a passive immunity and second one is the active immunity. So passive immunity means what? Naturally that newborn baby, they acquire immunity, which is called as a passive immunity. And active immunity means what? This is a different types of vaccination is the active immunity. So IgG, they participate in a complement fixation, precipitation of the antigen and neutralization of viruses and toxin. So this is the function of the IgG. So IgG, this is the monomer. This is the most abundant immunoglobulin in the blood, and they also present in a tissue fluid also, remember, important. And the functions, they promote the opsonization, the neutralization of the different viruses, and this is the only antibody that is going to cross the placenta, and this is important in a passive immunity. Then IgA, again this is the second most abundant antibodies, 10 to 13% present in a plasma. This is a major immunoglobulin in a colostrum, saliva, tears and other body fluids. So they are having two forms, IgA1 and IgA2. So these difference again due to the different conformation of the heavy chain. So this is the secretory antibody. Most of the time it is called as the secretory IgA. They are found in a dimeric form, like that IgM, which is a pentameric form. So this one is the dimeric forms, and it is composed of the two basic chains, J chain and secretory component. So secretory component, which helps to transport the dimer from submucosa to the mucosal cell surface. So IgA, it is responsible for the proteolytic digestion and denaturization of the different pathogenic compounds. So this is the briefing. This is a dimer which is joined by this particular J chain and present in a secretion such as the tear, saliva, mucus and breast milk also. So they plays an important role in a passive immunity. So they provide a localized defense of mucous membrane by the cross-linking and neutralization of the antigens present on a cell surface. So they present, as I told you, they are present in a breast milk. So they plays an important role in a passive immunity. So next class is the IgE, which is low in a serum, and they are found on the surface of the mast cell and the basophils, which are responsible for the degranulation reactions. So degranulation is the hypersensitivity reaction. So they produce in a lining of respiratory and intestinal tract. So they cause the hypersensitivity reactions. So they plays an important role in a defense against the different parasitic infections. So Ig, this is the monomer. They present in the blood in a low concentration, and they trigger the release from mast cell and basophil histamine and other chemical that cause the allergic reactions. See, suppose this is the mast cell. So this particular IgE, they are going to bind on the mast cell or basophils, and when they are bind to the mast cell or basophils, so this particular cells, they are going to secrete a different chemicals which are responsible for the allergic reaction. So this is the function of IgE antibody. So last one is the IgD, which is structurally resemble to the IgG. Again, this is an important point. Many times there is a question in a B section of CSIR net. So this IgD, it is structurally resemble to the IgG, and they present with the IgM on the cell surface. So they are work in the presence of the IgM antibodies, and they susceptible to the different proteolytic attack. So again, this is the monomer. So they are primarily present on the B cell that have not been exposed to the antigen. Okay, so we already seen the types of antibody and different functions of the antibodies. Now there are some important concept. Idiotype. This is the antigenic determinants that is formed by the specific amino acids in a hypervariable region, and each idiotype is unique for the immunoglobulin produced by the specific clones of the antibody producing cells. So anti-idiotype antibody react only with the hypervariable region of the specific immunoglobulin molecule that induce it. Now we'll try to understand the difference between primary immune response and the secondary immune response. So primary response, this is following the exposure to the antigen. So primary immune response, there is a slow rise in a IgM followed by the slow rise in a IgG. And secondary immune response means following the exposure to the previously encountered antigen, there is a rapid rise in a IgG and slow or there is a no rise in a IgM antibody. So this is the memory response, we can say. So try to understand this particular primary and secondary immune response. Suppose there is antigen A which is going to infect the any particular body. So when antigen A enter into the body, then body they produce that B cells, they are going to produce a plasma cells and they are also going to produce a memory cell. So this particular plasma cells, they are going to produce a antibody and they neutralize the effect of this antigen A. So this is the story. Now when the same antigen, that is antigen A, same antigen they encounter second time, then that body they previously encountered that antigen. So there is a immediate response for the particular antigen. So that second immediate response is called as the secondary response and first response is the primary response. So remember and try to understand, in a primary response there is a slow rise in a IgM followed by the slow rise in a IgG, and when the same antigen encounter, then secondary response they plays an role. So in case of the secondary response, there is a rapid rise in a IgG because antigen, it is first time it is encounter. So our bodies now they know that particular antigen, and there is a slow or there is a no rise in a IgM. So secondary response, it is also called as the memory response of the antibody. This diagram, it is clearly explained. On x-axis it shows the time and on a y-axis this is the serum antibody concentration. Now see here, when any antigen they encounter to the body, then latent period here, this is the there is a slow rise, there is a sudden rise of the IgM and there is a slow rise of the IgG antibodies. This is happen in a primary response, and this one is the latent period. Latent period means there is a antibody, immune system is going to activate it and antibody production is very slow. And at this point, when same antigen is encountered, so our body now know that particular antigen, so there is a sudden rise in a IgG immune response, sudden rise in a IgG antibodies, and there is a low increase in a IgM antibodies, or sometimes there is a no IgM concentration is found. So this is called as the primary immune response and the secondary immune response. So now let's move to the monoclonal antibodies. So this is the antibody produced in response to the antigen that is a heterogeneous and that formed by the different clones of the plasma cells. So antibodies that rise from the single clone of the cell, that antibodies are called as the monoclonal antibodies. That is, monoclonal antibody, they react only to the particular epitope or particular antigen only. So monoclonal antibody, they having a different medical applications, and monoclonal antibodies are produced in laboratories by the hybridoma technology, and monoclonal antibodies, they are utilized for the different bacterial as well as viral infections. So monoclonal antibodies, they are made in laboratories by fusion of the myeloma cells with the antibody producing B cells, and that is called as the hybridoma cells. Hybridoma cells means what is this? This is the fusion between myeloma cells and the B cells. Okay, so that is about some important concept of the immunology. So we already seen this characteristics of antigen. There is no need, you just remember immunogenicity. This is capacity to stimulate the production of antibodies or cell mediated immune response. This is called as the immunogenicity, and this is antigenicity. So these two slides just to understand the difference between immunogenicity and antigenicity. So antigenicity, the ability to bind to the antibody, is called as antigenicity. So when vaccine production takes place, then this immunogenicity and antigenicity concepts are very important. So these are the some this table shows the factor that influence the immunogenicity for the particular protein. We already discussed in a first few slides. Size matters. Size must be a proper. Then dose of administration is also important. Route of the administration. Composition, that is, it must be a complex. Then forms. Then adjuvants are necessary. So we already learn all these particular things. You just read all particular things. Then affinity and avidity of the antibody. So these are again a very important, this definition you must know. So affinity, the tightness with which the antigen binding site attached to an antigen determinants, that is called as the affinity. And avidity, this is a tightness of binding when several antigen binding sites attach to the several antigenic determinants, that is called as the avidity. So this is again very important. Try to understand the difference between affinity and avidity. So I hope this video is quite long, but I hope you understand all these immunological concept, because remember when we are going to prepare the CSIR NET exam, then immunology is the most important topics. Many questions are there in a part B as well as in a part C. So I hope you like the video. Please like the video, share the video, and subscribe my channel RMK Resolutions, and hit the bell icon so you will get the regular notifications. Thank you. Bye bye.